Okay, so now I've got him cut out. What the hell do I do? Well, I know I need to bring the three together and close this gap. So what I need to do is I need to look at each side and be like, okay, what am I going to have to replace if I move this guy? And what am I going to have to replace if I move these guys? Now, these guys are completely covering almost everything. This guy, we've got some pieces here that are going to have to be completed. So, if the choice is that or that, I think creating something completely new, possibly finding a stock photo of some kind of equipment crate to put back here, I do believe that these two guys are going to be my best bet. I do have some of this stuff over here, but most of this is just like there's a corner, and I might be able to replace some of this equipment stuff. This seems a little more obvious, like these are so much more defined that I'm not sure I want to jack with them. These can be replaced with almost visual junk. So I think these two guys are my best bet to cut out next. Now, given their coloration and their black outfits and stuff, you would think it would be very easy to just like magic wand or something like that. However, the background items are here also black, so that's not going to work for us. So again, I'm going to recommend pen tooling these guys and then moving them to the right. So I'm going to take them out as a pair, again with the pen tool. So here we go with that nonsense again. And then up, and I'll be a little more loose with these guys simply because this white background here is pretty homogeneous. I mean, there's a little bit of seam and wrinkles, but I think I can get away with, and since they wear these skull caps, ears aren't an issue. And then I'll just come down, and yeah, these guys aren't going to be too hard at all to remove. I can get a little wider with these guys. Alright, up and over, down, around. Yeah, that one might be a little wonky. Yeah, here we go. Alright, bear with me. I know this is the boring part. You're like, I know what he's going to do. And I do too. It's boring for me too to do this, but do it I shall. And up the pant leg. And then we get into kind of a, if I zoom in, let's see if I see any definition between them and the black background. I don't. So I could kind of BS where this next angle goes to kind of just include his hand. And then I don't care about this area because that's gone, so I can just click in there. Whoops, went too high. I do have to go to here, and then I'll just connect it. So now I've got both of those guys outlined with the pen tool, and oh, there's an intermediate area in there, isn't there? I wonder, can I start a new one? Yeah, I think I will. Okay. So I've got the two separate paths. Let's see what we got now in the paths. The work path sees everything, including that other part. So I'm going to click this, make a selection. It is a new selection. Oh, it didn't take everything. Well, that's interesting. Oh, it was the one that was selected. So now using the white arrow, I will hold the shift key and select that. I should have had both paths selected at the same time. Let me go backwards, because they are technically separate paths. So I've got this one selected. I'm going to hold my shift key, and now I've got both paths selected. Now let's do make a selection. There we go. Now we've got everybody. Okay. Now before I do anything else, I'm going to show you that trick, and it is the save selection. So I'm going to save this selection, and I'm going to call it to blue. Okay, and I may not ever need it again, but just in case, I've saved it into this file, so I will never have to trace those guys again. Okay, so now I go back to my layers. I select the background copy because I was on that layer, and I'm going to go copy, cut, and then paste. All right, so now I have these guys here, and if I put them back down and I put these guys close together, now I have a general idea of how much repair I actually have to do. Only where the checkerboard is do I have to fill. Now that's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to deselect them briefly so you can see very clearly here. Now I'm left with these gaping holes, okay? Which is fine for now, but I have to start looking. Well, I probably, to practice with, I want to start with the easiest things first to repair. Now, let's look at our layers. Background copy is the one that has the holes in it. Okay, so this is background copy. It's the only thing visible. And we've cut these these two very large holes into that background image. And if I turn on the other two blue men in their new position, okay, I see now I'm going to have to fix an arm and a shoulder, part of a glove. I've got to make a foot. The rest of their bodies are intact. We're going to have to fix some pavement. We're going to have to put a new equipment rig behind them that we'll have to get probably from a stock photograph. But let's just start up here with this curtain. So I'm going to zoom up to this area here. Now this is a large piece of real estate. And there are a couple different ways that you can do this. You could just select as much of this curtain as you could and copy it and then paste it over as a patch. So let's try that technique first. All right, so I'm simply going to just select with a rectangle tool this big chunk of curtain, and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it. So we have a new piece. Layer 3 is now that piece of curtain. Now where did it go to? That's the question. So I'm going to get that arrow. Oh, it pasted it right on top of itself. So I could just move that wrinkle down. Let's zoom in. But you'll notice that there's some tone changes and things like that along. We can see the patch job. All right. Now, lengthening that wrinkle isn't a bad thing, But how do we get rid of these obvious corners? Well, there's a couple ways. We could try blurring the edge of this patch that we created. Or what I do is I take my eraser tool and I get a nice soft brush, a soft edged brush. So like this one here. And you see how it's really soft around the edges? And what I do is I don't go like this and cut through it. I graze the edge with the overspray. So opacity 100%, flow 100%, that's fine. And so I'm just going to start grazing that edge with my eraser. And just kind of, you see how it's vanishing a little? And out here, where the curtain is intact, we don't really have to worry about it. And we just slowly kind of, it's just erasing it. Scoot that over. And it's on its own layer. So, yeah, we just knock the corners down. And that patch, it's almost like buffing it out or smoothing it out. Now, if I turned off, I got a little too close there, didn't I? Let me get back up here. I went a little too low. There we go. And I'm just trying to blend the two pieces together. There we go. Now, if I turn off, you can see now where I erased the hard edges of this. See where I softened it and just kind of left a ghost image? Okay?